Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Blockchain Summit's Barista. And we are going to be talking to several fabulous people in our community about a very, very important subject. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are learning about AI, really understanding or trying to understand what intellectual property looks like in the age of AI. And we have some guests here today that are going to share that information with us. So I'm going to just start by asking each one of our guests to please introduce yourself. So I'm going to start with both of the beautiful ladies. So first, we're going to ask Miss Joanna Holmes, to please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do in the space.
Thanks, Naja. Great to be here and have the opportunity to share with our community the importance of emerging tech. So, as you said, I'm Joanne Holmes of Holmes at Law, and my focus is around intellectual property and blockchain. I help clients license and monetize brands, content, and technology.
All right. Well, thank you for that introduction. And next up, we have Marissa Curry. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Marissa Curry. I work for the Solana Foundation, particularly Solana U. And what I do there is spread information about how to get college students involved with the blockchain and with Solana, and I also create educational content onboarding people onto Solana. And what that has to do with AI and intellectual property is there's a large artist group, and we basically talk about how they can share their art most effectively and intertwine it with AI. And with obviously soon with like various art collections that have came out, particularly during the time of Art Basel, so that everyone can like keep their intellectual property safe.
All right. Thank you for that. And next up, if we can hear from Mr. Jesse Fenty.
So my name is Jesse Fenty. Good morning, everyone. I am an intellectual property attorney from Washington, D.C., former patent examiner. I have my own patent practice, intellectual property practice, and I help inventors of all sizes protect their ideas, try to figure out what about their ideas can be protected, and then helping them get patents, trademarks, copyrights, whatever the case might be.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And next up, we have Mr. Caleb Boyce.
Voice. Thanks, Nadia. Good morning, everyone. My name is Caleb Boyce. I've been working for blockchain for a couple of years now. I started at Dapper Labs, and I'm now working at Common.xyz, which is a DAO forum and community platform. And while I was at Dapper Labs, of course, worked a lot on NFTs, but launched and ran the Black Creative Fund grant program, which is a $1.2 million fund and grant program and accelerator incubator, if you will, that we launched for with 23 Black-led projects. I'm launching dApps on Flow, and a number of them were working with NFTs and also intellectual property as well. And so with creative intellectual property, if that makes sense. And so it's pretty something personal to me as well. And I'm also a DJ and come from a musician family. So I'm pretty interested and excited about this topic to talk about today.
Absolutely. And so, first of all, again, I just really am happy to be here. I'm excited for our community to get this information. And one of the biggest things, and I'm just going to say in layman terms, because we're going to be speaking to people that are in the space, but we're also going to be talking to people that are not in the space and really trying to get those who are not in the space understanding what they need to do to protect themselves during this age of AI. And so for Blacks in the past, it has been very difficult at best, I will say, to protect our intellectual property for a number of different reasons. Who can really share with us why, first of all, it's important to protect your intellectual property in today's age of AI?
I think either Jesse or Jesse, you want to speak from a patent perspective, and maybe I could speak from trademark and copyright?
Sure. I was going to even open up, Naja, when you're talking about our community. My first thought was, I think a lot of the work that we do often, myself, Joanne, and other people, we have to almost inform people, what intellectual property is, what the basis of it is, and how they can, what it actually is. I think that's often something that isn't really understood, and hopefully this panel can help and people can reach out to us. but even understanding, what IP is and what the different aspects are of protecting your ideas before you even get into the point of protecting it. So that's why I always start. And so, so a patent in general is kind of something you can make. That's how I define it. People call it an invention, but I call it something that you can make. Trademark is, to me, your branding, your name, your logo, how you represent your ideas. And then copyrights is kind of written works and creative works that you can protect. So that's kind of a baseline where we should start with the conversation. Then I'll pass to Joanne to talk about some other things. But, that's always the baseline to start with the definitional aspects.
I think Jesse sets a great foundation. So effectively, if you are building a company in 2024, you are most likely building a technology company. And intellectual property is one of the key ways that we make sure that you own what you're creating. So whether you're coming up with brand names, logos, and slogans that are the trademarks that help distinguish what you're making from what your competitors are making, or whether you're creating code in either AI or in blockchain, or whether you're developing innovation, all of those things are the assets that make your business valuable and create an opportunity to build revenue through monetizing and licensing those assets. And in AI, where we know that there are larger companies and language models that are building off of the innovation, the work that has been done in the past, one of the key tools that we have under the law to protect our innovation is to own the intellectual property, own registrations, so that we can take those assets and not only monetize it, but defend ourselves against third parties using it without our consent.
Absolutely. And so with that, really quickly, because I know we're going to get to Marissa and Caleb, I just want to ask, what in the space right now are you seeing as it relates to AI that we are most unprotected in? Would it be, and yeah, what would that be in our community specifically? What are the cases that you see the most where people are coming in and they're not protected? Are not getting the protection they need because they really don't understand that they need it?
Yeah, I think the main issue with when it comes to AI and the Black community is just a lack of understanding and education. And I think the more we onboard people into AI, similarly, just like what we want to do with blockchain technology, because the two can be used in tandem for creative industry, software and technology, pharmaceutical industry, as well as biotechnology. They can be used in tandem, but I just feel like in order for our community to succeed, we need to be early adapters to this, early adopt this technology in order to use it to educate ourselves and move our community forward, because it can be used as a tool for education and things of that nature. And I think that would be really great. But bottom line, it just boils down to education and access.
Absolutely. And Jesse, I know you want to chime in.
Well, she ended with the word that I was going to start with is access. And I think, to your question about how are we being, I won't say the word victimized, but the big tech companies have the money and the resources and the ability to develop, new products and new services. And so, we'll always have that disadvantage, like starting out, but like people like myself and Joanne can help to bridge the gap, help to reach our community, and help get those ideas out into the world, which, people who are, small businesses, I talk to small companies all the time, and they have limited budgets. But for, I'm a solar practitioner. I can help somebody with a smaller budget get their ideas, and I have the know-how to help get their ideas out into the mainstream. So that's our challenge, is fighting these companies who have access to all kinds of computer programs and software and so on. So we're fighting the big guys, but we can do it little by little, and that's why this summit is so important, to bring people together so we can pool our resources and our energies and our knowledge to help inventors and creators build companies and then protect their ideas in the marketplace.
One thing I want to mention.
Oh, sorry, absolutely. No, go ahead, Caleb.
A lot of creators, especially when they're starting early out, are looking to get their content out there and build a community, get visibility on their content, and see like who likes it. Maybe they're getting some following, like, oh, more people could like this. Like, I want to broadcast this out. And it's like, if you think about that as an artist, you're like, where do I put it? And it's like, there's only a few channels really available for you to get eyeballs on your content and potentially, increase the visibility and be able to get to the point where you can then monetize that content. And so you're using Instagram, you're using TikTok and these other centralized platforms, particularly on social media. And the hazard in that is that one, generally, these platforms are centralized and they control all the content that goes in and out of that platform. So we kind of give that control initially. But it's also like, as an artist, when you're trying to get big, how else do you really get people looking at your stuff? I mean, you can go to art fairs, but it's a very specialized audience. Really, the fastest way to grow is to go on these platforms. And because these platforms are so heavily centralized, we're at a disadvantage, kind of to what Adrian was saying. Jesse, sorry, I was saying. And so I think that for one thing, I was educating our Black creators when they were starting the program is like starting with NFTs and understanding how those work and why the benefit of it. But yeah, I think I actually had Joanne speak with the grant program, with the grantees, just talking like, well, what's the benefit of using NFTs? Well, IP, and like, well, what's IP? And so back to, the original point that I think we're making here is that education part is really important. But beyond that, really helping people frame, it's like, well, there's only a few ways in which you can get this out there. But if you get this out there with a copyright on it or with some intellectual property claim on it, initially, as you're starting out, it's like part of your due diligence and really framing how you want things to be presented to potential new fans, then like I think that's a really a good way to approach it, potentially an opportunity.
Absolutely. In a few minutes, I'm going to have you all tell us about some of the projects that you're working on. Oh, go ahead, Marissa.
Oh, yeah, I just had one more thing to add about the
Yeah.
education aspect piece. I think traditionally, like there's a book called Industries of the Future, and it speaks about how if you do not get with the AI technology wave, the blockchain wave, you will be left behind. And a lot of these gaps and disparities are educational. And me being an educator and a tutor, I was an AmeriCorps teaching fellow, like you can see it firsthand in these schools. So it's basically, I think, it's about like basically getting our community together and like targeting people, like having events at libraries, things of that nature, and also like changing the way that we view technology. Because I think certain issues like within the African community, like the Tuskegee experiment, like it goes deeply as like the book Industries of Future explained how deeply ingrained like antitrust of technology is, or like of science is in the African community, because we saw things like Henrietta Lacks and then this Tuskegee study. And so it like we don't always want to adopt new technologies, or we have a fear of AI and just erasing that, not erasing the legacy, but changing the tone in which we understands how things happen scientifically, and just saying like, hey, we know this happened, but if we are in control now, we educate ourselves early, we can be this much more ahead economically and financially.
Naja, you're on.
Naja.
Absolutely. I didn't want to interrupt her and make sure that she got that out. But it actually, what you just said actually speaks to my next question to you all. I know that in this age of technology, it is so hard to bring our people forward, to learn and to just do it. I mean, I can't tell you the countless conversations I have with people that they just do not want to get involved. They don't want to learn anything new. They feel like they're going to be long gone from the earth before any of these things are implemented or working, and they don't understand that these things are happening now. What creative ways do you all see? And I heard, Marissa, I heard you say, libraries and getting people out for education, but what creative ways do you all think that you can maybe help one of the listeners to really help and be the change that they want to see? But what creative ideas do we have to bring Black people to the table to help them understand how vitally and critically important it is for them to understand what is going on, and not just understand what's going on, be a part of what is going on? What creative ideas do you have?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in on that one, Naja. So I literally today am celebrating 25 years practicing law. And
All right.
thank you. I believe as an attorney and as a Black woman.
I got to stop you and say congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you so
celebrate
much.
you.
I appreciate
Seriously.
everybody's love.
Congratulations.
As I stand here and speak to you and I contemplate what does it mean to have spent the amount of time with the privilege of being a Black woman practicing intellectual property law, managing IP in over 150 countries, I think I have a responsibility that comes with that privilege. And so I have spoken over 30 times in the United States and abroad because people need to see women and people of color in the United States and around the world standing up and saying, we belong in this space. Our talents have value. Billions of dollars have been made off of the talent of women and people of color. So whether you're an attorney, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are in marketing or finance, you belong in this space. The creative idea that I bring is that wealth equals choices. And so when I look back at the beginning of my career at the advent of e-commerce, and I think about all the wealth that came out of Silicon Valley, I am a graduate of Stanford. My daughter is a graduate of Stanford. I'll be damned if I'm going to continue to allow that wealth to go to a very select few people without standing up and using my voice and saying, this technology belongs to everyone, be it AI, be it blockchain, be it robotics or the Internet of Things. We have talent to bring to this space. And that's why I am about helping design strategy and implementing that to build wealth so that our voices can be heard and so that we can help shape these spaces that will impact everyone.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everything that you said. And I think it's like when we think about it, like I'm Gen Z, so I'm probably the youngest person on this call. But when I think about where we meet the people halfway or where we meet the future generations, all I can think about is getting on social media and like showing like and basically giving creators that are popular within like young Gen Z African Americans like onboarding them so they can inspire the masses. And I myself do make tech content at Mari Summers, so I do make tech content, and I've got like an overwhelming like response of people like, oh, how did you do X, Y, and Z? How did you do this? How did you make this app? So the more exposure that people get early on, especially young people and people of my generation, it makes it easier for them to be able to say, like, I see someone who looks like me working in tech, using AI, like creating products. Like that means I can do it too. And it's just like reshaping the way that the young Black woman or Black man views themselves in the society and empowering them. And it starts by people like us and me making content around technology, which I've been doing on my social pages for the past 2 years.
So in the miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson explains that if you get a degree and you can only use that degree to work for, say, corporate America, and you can't use your degree to work for your people, then you've been miseducated. So I think that this summit and the work that we're doing here is that that theme, and it even goes back to the book. I think about Booker T. Washington, the book Up from Slavery. If you've never read it, it's a fantastic read. He built his own buildings. He made his own bricks, and that's what we're doing here. We're actually creating this from the the tools that are available to us. And so I make videos on TikTok and I post them on my Instagram on IP law. And I try to explain intellectual property concepts to people in a very basic way. I look at examples like Kanye West with that Adidas, thing he had a couple of years ago. I explained, the Yeezy trademarks and I looked at the patent that Adidas had for the shoe, and I showed the public how those things combine to make a patent, to make a shoe company. And so we have the people who have the knowledge. We have a responsibility, if you believe that, to share that information with people and empower them. And that's what education is all about. That's what this program is all about. And so, I've worked with NSB, the National Society of Black Engineers, for the past few years, trying to teach those engineers that they are the creators of the technology that their companies are going to use to get thousands of patents. So, if you have that mindset, you have to teach, and sometimes it's a thankless job. But if you get that, if you believe what you're doing is right, then you'll keep doing it. And so it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge that we're all, that we all embrace.
I think starting with encouraging that, just kind of following that point, Jesse, is like encouraging Black creators and potentially Black business owners and people who are working in business that, when you're putting something out there, whether it's your expression of your creativity or a product or a service, that you should be able to monetize it and have a plan for monetization to begin with. So a lot of times people are like, oh, if I can get out something like, let's say it's a really dope music track. If I can get that out there in front of enough people are gonna really like it, and then maybe I can go perform a show. And it's like start out with hey, if I can get some music out there, it has to be protected so I can be able to monetize it at some point down the road. And really thinking about that from the beginning. It's like, well, I can get stuff out there and people really like it, and fame is really great, and the hype machine is really can be really fulfilling in the short term. But thinking more sustainably about how do I actually monetize this? How do I turn this into something that can support me? How do I make sure that my creative expression is something that belongs to me, that I can own and monetize over the short term and long term? And starting with that, I think, is really a good way to help inform people. It's like, hey, it's not just about, getting people to like your stuff or finding people to like your stuff. It's actually about how do you monetize this and create a business around it, so you can support yourself and also, earn back what's given to you based on your creative expression.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, I just thank you all for all of the passion that you have and the work that you're doing in the space and the giving of your information. And I know a lot of times in our community, because I do it almost every day, we have to give so much in order for people to even understand what the baseline is of what we're doing in order for us to be able to make money, to stay in business and do some of these things. And so it becomes a little bit of charity work at the beginning. And so I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you that are on social media and that are out in the world showing individuals that there are people that look like us that are in the space and people that can do that we can do whatever we put our minds to and be protected. And that's one of the things that we've seen over the years that our community has not done. I want to ask each and every one of you, if we could start with Miss Joanne, what are you specifically working on in the space? Where do you want to see us go in the very near future? What projects are you working on today?
So I won't speak specifically to client issues because of attorney-client confidentiality, but I will say from a larger perspective, I'm really fortunate to have been recognized as a woman of the future and serve on the board of the Blockchain Law for Social Good Center. What I'm really thinking about is how do I use my preparation, my background in this space to build policy that makes it possible for the United States to be a place where emerging technology can flourish. We know that we need to have that foundational level of regulation, law, and precedent that can help our innovators, our entrepreneurs, be able to grow blockchain and AI-based innovation here. And that's a balancing act of making sure that we're protecting consumers and small investors at the same time that we're laying a roadmap for them to be able to keep that innovation in the US. So that's really where a lot of my energy is going around supporting our legislators at the state, federal levels to understand that this innovation is something that can create American jobs, and we need to have a policy framework that allows that to happen here.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Marissa, can you tell me where you hope to see the space go and what you're doing to work towards that goal?
Yeah, so I like in terms of where I hope to see, I hope to onboard a lot more young African Americans because I'm really big on tech Twitter, and I see all these people my age starting like these B2B SaaS companies and everything using AI, just learning how to code really quickly. And it's never been easier of a time to learn how to code because there's Claude, there's Cursor AI, which is a really great IDE. So when I use it to code myself, so when I code, I can get like direct feedback about what I'm coding, easily ask questions. 10 out of 10 recommend that if you want to get started how to learn how to code. There's also free code camp. And there's all these tools where you can learn about AI, machine learning. Like there's Udemy, that costs money, but free code camp is free. And there's all these articles and there's even like machine learning leak code. So if you want to learn how to code or learn about AI, now is the best time. But the thing is, I wouldn't have known about these things if I hadn't been in tech space for so long, if I was on tech Twitter. So now it's like, I know about this stuff. It's how do I share it with my community? And because I work with Solana University, I I hosted their first HBCU event at my college, Louis State, which got a lot of people excited about blockchain. And then from then on, I also do make content on TikTok and Instagram on Mari Summers. So I've onboarded people in accelerator programs such as MLT Management Leadership of Tomorrow, which helps people learn about these high impact careers that are in the tech and finance space. And I just hope to be able to continue to make content and really educate people and get people onboarded to both free and paid resources to learn about machine learning, AI, and blockchain.
Absolutely. And before you mute, I have a question for you because you seem to be one of the younger folks of this panel. I know you and Caleb can and chime in too, and anybody can chime in. If there's a parent listening today, Marissa, what age would you say that their child needs to get involved and begin to understand what is going on in the space? What is the age that you think?
I think they can get started. Like, so for example, I started playing piano when I was 3. So I think you can get started as early as 3. You can get little technology books. Like there's like baby learns about quantum mechanics, baby learns about AI. There's like these books about like teaching your child about that. And I also highly, highly recommend once that kid knows how to read and write, that, like they should get Math Academy. Math Academy is basically Khan Academy on steroids. So what it is an AI-based learning platform where the child first takes a test and they have it going all the way up to pre-K. And then from there, they can learn math at a rapid pace because there's like I just saw the winners of the math Olympiad in the United States. There was not an African American child, and I think that's something that needs to change. And I feel like if they can use Math Academy and also do lingual math, which is powered by AI, and start reading books like Baby's Quantum Mechanics or just learning about different scientists and not even like and African American scientists too, like make it a focus on like there's people in the space who look like me doing this, that they can accelerate and definitely make a positive impact not only in space but in the Black community.
Yeah,
And oh yes, Kayla, please chime in.
no, it's great, Marissa. I literally while you were speaking, I was like typing these like different tools. It's like written for my like and then nieces and nephews. But I think that one thing that was one of my friends said a while back was like he said, you know, I can do anything because I know how to learn. I know how I learn best. And so really understanding how you learn and also helping your kids understand how they learn and helping to understand or looking to see how they learn. And then being able to like see what they're interested in and tying those two together. So if they're interested in some creative pursuit, like they like video games or like art or they like, you know, music or making noise or whatever it is, I'm looking to see like how they learn new things and really understanding that and starting with that. Then once you understand how like your child or other young people learn, then you can direct them to tools like some of the tools that Marissa mentioned that really like align really well with how they learn and be able to like, you know, give them that opportunity. So finding an area of interest they have and then, you know, showing them what's possible to build on it. You can look for use cases and examples like that. But the core of it, I think, is really focusing early on, especially like how do you learn best and what methods or modes or, you know, practices like work well for you to be able to learn things. And it's never been easier, as Marissa was saying, with like all the different ways you can learn now and different applications and tools that are customizing approaches to learning. So I think that's probably like the place to start, regardless of age.
Absolutely. And before you mute out, we'll hear from you in reference to what you're working on in the space and what you are most passionate about moving forward.
So I'm working with DAOs and DAO governance and forums, and that's probably not the most fun thing to talk about right now. But I think that one thing I find myself doing a lot, especially I loved Chris Dixon's book, Read, Write, Own, because I work in blockchain and work in blockchain past few years and I committed to keep working in blockchain, you know, God willing. And I think that trying to make sure that we help people understand that blockchain is infrastructure, that blockchain can be used for a lot of different ways to really solve some of these problems. And even using like blockchain in the context of this conversation for, you know, protecting IP. So there's like PEX. I don't know if you guys are familiar with PEX.com, but like it's allows you to or it goes and searches through like content that's been put out there and identifies ones that are potentially in violation of copyright or of intellectual property. So being able to use that and then using blockchain as well to track or to publish essentially the content that you put out and make sure that you get that association ownership with it, and then potentially even using blockchain with cryptocurrency to get compensated as people consume that over time. And so I still like, you know, I'm a blockchain maximalist, and I see like a lot of potential in the ability for us to leverage it to solve a lot of these problems in a very elegant and like and innovative way. And so what I'm really working on focusing on is keep making sure reminding people that, you know, this blockchain technology that we have is not just cryptocurrency. There's a lot of applications we can use for it, and it does help us solve a lot of like these problems. And being a person who's obsessed with innovation and kind of this bleeding edge stuff, like I just want to keep reminding people like that blockchain is not just crypto.
And thank you for that. And keep being a blockchain maximalist because we need that. We definitely need it. I wish you could do something and get it done by November so we can have this vote over with and done and solidified. But with that, Jesse, if you can explain to me what you are looking forward to in the future in this space and what you're working on currently.
It's funny. I actually sent in like a room reservation the other day to Martin Luther King Library in DC to kind of kick off an IP education series, which is kind of, you know, funny that we're talking about that. I love teaching. You know, unlike Marissa, she's Gen Z. I'm Gen X. I love kind of being in front of people and talking to people like live. You know, I'll do you know, online seminars, but I like the human interaction. So hopefully I can kick off a nice lecture series this fall in DC the libraries. Maybe I can work with some schools. I had a nonprofit a couple years ago, but I let it kind of expire. But maybe I'll get back into that. But I just love working with people. So like even my clients, we have, myself and Joanne and other people, all of us on this call have unique information and the ability to help people, take their base idea and figure out. That's what IP attorneys do. We help people figure out what aspects of their invention can be, or their business can be protected. And then, so I like that part of my job to help people create. And so the education helps with that. But then I have the other aspect where I have the legal services, the legal knowledge to help them get through the door. So, I mean, I hope to continue to keep working with good people and good ideas, which is always going on. It's funny, my education company is called Endless IP, because I understand that intellectual property is endless because ideas just keep coming every day. So, that's the work that I'm doing, and I enjoy doing it. Happy to be on this call with you all.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, because we have just about 5 minutes left, if everyone can take a few minutes to tell us where we can find you, the name of your company again, and where we can find you on social media, and maybe even just give an email address, because there are people that are watching that are going to, I hope that we have sparked something within those individuals watching where they are going to reach out to you today and get themselves protected or get themselves educated. And so can you give us the name of your company again and where we can reach you, and an email at least?
Well, I'm still unmuted, so I'm Jesse.
Oh, go ahead,
Sorry.
Mr. Jesse, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was still up. So yeah, people find me on LinkedIn. My name Jesse Fenty, or my website is, my law firm is Fenty IP Law. My email is Jesse@Fenty IP Law. So it's a common name like Rihanna, Fenty. So
I was just about to ask that. Right. I was going to say, I know this. We're talking about AI, but are you Rihanna's cousin?
I could be. We all have Bayesian roots from Barbados, so we could be.
All right.
At least we're on the same plantation. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good foot in for the youngsters to start telling them, I may be related to Rihanna, and that'll get you in there quicker than anything. So, well, thank you for that. Miss Joanne.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. So again, I'm Joanne Holmes. The best way to reach out to me is actually via LinkedIn, because then I can follow you and you can follow me as I try to educate and highlight opportunities for the community in emerging technology. My website is Holmes, like Sherlock, not as cool as Rihanna, but holmesatlaw.com. So LinkedIn and holmesatlaw.com are the best ways to follow the work I do and connect with me.
And thank you for that. Yes,
so I'm on LinkedIn as well, Caleb Boyce. I just updated my name here on the call so you can see how it's spelled. But and then you can also follow me on Twitter at Voice of Reason, although I'm not that active there. The best place to reach me is on LinkedIn. And that's the best way.
Absolutely. And Marissa?
So you can find me on LinkedIn at Marissa Curry. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I am also active on Twitter at Mari and then Summers with an extra F. I make tech content on Instagram at marisummers.tech. And it's everywhere you can find me.
Absolutely.
Also Mari Summers on Twitter, sorry.
No, you said Mari Summers on X?
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. On Twitter, Instagram, marisummers.tech, LinkedIn, Marissa Curry.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you to each and every one of you for really sharing your knowledge and sharing the passion. And I really want to thank you for the work that you're doing in our community, because it is so much needed. And I just want to continue to ask those that are watching today to really begin to think about how you can reach out and get those around you to really understand this space and how important it is that we get involved, and reach out to these experts on the line today and really make sure that you are asking the questions that you need and really getting the information. Marissa talked about some free tools and Caleb talked about some free tools and some things that you can utilize. And you can utilize those things to make and monetize so that we can go and pay the attorneys and the individuals that we really need to protect us, because we definitely need them behind us. And I'm speaking coming from a place where so much intellectual property and things that I have come out with over the years in this crypto space that have been taken because I wasn't properly protected. And so, a lot of people may be listening to this and say, you know what? Well, I can't afford to go get that done, or I can't afford to hire this professional. I will sit here today and tell you, you cannot afford not to get individuals to make sure that your intellectual property is safe. And so with that, again, I want to say thank you to you all. And I was over here on the West Coast. It was a little bit early, and I was thinking about coffee, and I said barista, but this is a Baraza. I caught myself and I said, you know what? I got to correct that. So again, I want to say thank you for sharing your information on this Black intellectual property in the age of artificial intelligence. You all have an incredible, blessed rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you all on the top in AI, because the bottom, when people figure this out, is going to be way too crowded. And as it was so eloquently stated, we have an opportunity to build the bricks and not just walk into the house. We can build the bricks. So you all have an incredible rest of your day. And thank you so much for your time.